All right, so here's our hip roof video. If I look at this project again, we're doing a little flat, granny flat or guest house that's going to go in the yard of this house. This is the house that's existing. You can see it is all gable roofs. And in the other videos, I've gone through and we decided that we would match that gable roof design to keep it consistent. But I wanted to do something in class demos. We've gone through this to do a hip roof design. So this is the first video in terms of how to start a hip roof. And I'm going to copy this and just bring it below so that anything I do, this is a great thing that you guys should do is copy stuff, bring it down, do another copy, bring it down. That way when you do get stuck or made some messes, you can just, clean things up and keep working through the process. I think the biggest thing for me when I go to, let me go over here, but when I go to figure out a roof pattern, I always have to look at it from the top. Some people, in the first thing really that we have to do with any type of roof is to figure out a slope. But when I look at a hip roof, it's important to me to realize what's happening, look at it from the top, and then kind of use that to inform myself about what should be happening on the sides. Hip roofs, a lot of people think that it always is a pyramid. It's not. Most of the time you would have a ridge, but you don't know, and that's probably the biggest thing to say is that we never know the length of this ridge until we kind of plop this roof pitch and this roof pitch in place to figure out the intersection here, and then we actually have to mirror it and put it over here. So that's kind of step one. So when I look at this, I'm scrolling down, and I think this is something that would be good for anyone who's learning roof design. This is helpful. This is a hip over here. You can see it's a gable on this side because it ends in a straight line. But something like this might be helpful for you guys to kind of look and see what is the shape of your building, how does it work, etc. So when I go to this, one thing that I have done, and I'll note is, here was my floor plan. I have a nice clean floor plan up here somewhere, but here was my floor plan, and a good way to start yourself out with any type of roof is delete everything in the inside. So for what in that case, what I did was I just turned off my soffit, I turned off my wall, and I turned off my columns, and then I just literally deleted everything and then rotated it and everything else. Okay. I'm starting with the front of this, and again, I'm just going to kind of do it like a little bit of a sketch. So I know that across the widest portion of the major portion of the roof, I'm going to have a ridge that shoots over this way. And I know against this portion, which is like the center of that gable, I'm going to have a ridge that shoots over this way. And then when I look at a hip, I'm going to have something that comes up kind of like this. And then once I figure out where that hip rafter is, it would literally just be copied all the way along like so. Now again, this is just totally a sketch. This is not anything that is really meaningful, but it's only helping me get started. Okay. So what I would say is start with this and, go ahead and throw all these things in here. Just go to every corner, and it's always parallel. Everything in a hip, everything is parallel. So, none of these things are intersecting yet, but what I can start to see is that if I extended this out this way, I'm going to create an intersection, everything else. Okay. And then the next step from there is to go figure out and determine what your roof pitch is going to be. And so I'm just going to copy this, and usually I can kind of tell what kind of pitches I would like to have. I think on this one I determined that I wanted to have a 9-pitch roof. And the reason I determined that was when I went back over here to my elevation drawings, I was going to exactly mimic that angle right there, which is a 9/12 pitch. Okay. So in starting that, the first thing I would do is I would come over and I would draw a line that is over 12 feet. Could be over 12 inches, could be over 12 feet. And then I would come down and draw a line that is 9 feet. Rise over run. Okay. And I would then go ahead and take this, and just to save myself a lot of time and having to do this twice, I would just mirror it. And now I have a 9/12 pitch that goes on either side. So at this point, I need to go, and I always want to deal with the biggest section of the roof first, which in this case is going to be going across like the main largest space of the building. And it's going to be right over here, and it's going to be right in the middle of this wall right there. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that point for this video, and just say, first things first, go back, find your, find some inspiration off of, doing some Google image searching. This is actually very similar to what I'm doing in this video, or with my own house. And then number 2, come over here, just kind of rough it out, sketch it out from the top. Every one of these things is going to change. Okay. So what I'm going to do then is determine what pitch I would like to have, draw that pitch. Okay. Mirror that pitch just because it helps me. And then at that point, I will go along and I'll say, okay, well, the widest portion of any wall that I have is this one, which also happens to be this one, right? And at that point, I'm going to go ahead and take these these angles, and I'm going to go ahead and stick them in place right here, which is going to give me an elevation kind of like this. Again, ignore everything that's sticking up into space. It's just there in case you need it. It helps with alignment, and we'll move on from there.